Hi people and how my Chilling and Carnage crew, it's Chili here from Live Listen Erased. I wanted to do a fun little episode here, maybe an experimentation, and revisit this episode at the end of the year if I can remember anyway, because I'm going to make a few predictions for 2025. And also I want to reach out to you listeners to also make some predictions in the comments section below. But these are going to be some predictions that, I guess I'll make based on whatever reasoning. And, well, it'll be interesting to see, I guess, if I become a Nostradamus, if you will, or become the Nostradamus. Because I want to see if any of these come true, and I guess we'll see what happens. So I want to jump into the first one, which is going to be, I think CKY are going to go on hiatus or possibly break up. This should be made evident, of course, by the fact that they were kicked off the tour with Alien Ant Farm recently, and it's a very odd scenario because the act itself, which is apparently started by their singer, I can't think of his name. Um, I I kind of got the impression anyway that the gentleman who left the band originally and formed 96 Bitter Beans, what's his name? It eludes me now, but I kind of got the impressions that he was the guy who really kicked off most fights, was more violent, I guess, at the end of the day. And I'm trying to think of it. Is it Darren Miller, I believe? Yeah. So I think Darren Miller was the one who originally did that. I think Chad was the one who apparently started the fight with Alien Ant Farm. So I believe that, the fact, and the reason I say this is because at the end of the day, CKY haven't released an album in years, years. I think the last time they released an album was I'm going to say 2016. Maybe I'm wrong here. No, they had one. New Reason to Dream. I didn't remember seeing that. It was released independently. Okay, so I stand corrected because I actually thought the Phoenix record was the last album they did, and that was what was that, 2014 or something like that? I thought that was their last album, and of course the fact that they hadn't toured Australia for a long time would be a real kick in the nuts to the band itself, and maybe force them to be reflective. Also, the fact that Jess Margera had an album out about a year and a half ago or something like that with the band that he formed, a little side project called Sovereign Eagle, which was actually released on the same day that 96 Bitter Beans released their record. That's a fun one. So check out the episodes that I did on those two records because I thought there was some fun editing there as well, and there's a few jokes within. So yeah, I predict that CKY will either go on hiatus or possibly break up. But the next one I'm going to have here, this one probably is a safe bet. I'm going to call it Motley Crue implode and break up. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a big one. Just because it's so obvious, if you will. Cancelled was such a massive backlash to the band and its fans. I think that everyone hated it, and of course, the internet's just going to kill it up a stink, and Tommy Lee and all the rest of them are just going to be calling out bullshit and doing all that. Vince is going to get angry, do his thing, and they're probably going to cause a massive issue, possibly on stage even. I might be wrong there, but I think the pressures of just being touring live with each other and everything that goes into that little package is just going to see the band implode, and they're finally going to call it a day and quit. And that's just something that I think will happen. No. The next prediction that I want to make is actually in regards to the Finn McKinley saga, and I don't believe it's fully over yet. Now, if you weren't aware of Finn McKinley as this YouTube persona, what is he, the Punk Rock MBA, I think it is, and he's been a really cool YouTuber for a while, but he's just out of the blue almost just called it a day and said, "Screw this, I'm out, I'm done, I'm wrapping this thing up, and I don't like music." He was a YouTuber who, of course, did everything music related. And it's really weird because everyone's pointing out, oh, you've got tattoos of bands on your names, sorry, bands' names, tattoos on your body. How can you not like music at the end of the day? So I think there is more to this story than meets the eye, and what I've been reading in certain chat rooms and such, it seems to be much more to it. And if I was going to be a betting man, I'd say his reasoning, for him to say I don't like music and to come across as this fake in the industry that he came out and said I did it all for money. I think that is just a misdirection to what the true reasons actually are. And like I said, I think that in the upcoming months we're going to find out the real reasons why he has quit the platform. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that one. A bit of a vague one, but well, that's just prediction for you. But Here's one that is going to be a real ballsy one. Oasis make it through the tour that they have announced. Now, I say this because, Oasis can't afford to fight and break up and call it quits once more again, because there is just too much money at the end of the day to be lost. They would be sued into oblivion, lose so much money. And, from what I was talking about with Doz, he was saying, I think it was Noel Gallagher is the one who um, doesn't have as much money as Liam. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but he's the one who needs the money more, and he's the one who also tended to fight more often than most. Doesn't sound right. I thought it was Liam that fought more often than the other one. Anyway, I might be getting the names mixed up, but whoever fought the most needed the money more. So, I believe that Oasis are just going to get through it. Maybe they're actually going to be adults for once in their life and just kind of sucker it up and just get through the tour and then hate each other afterwards. Just get it done and dusted, boys, because I'm on the last leg of the tour and I don't want to see you quit at any fucking point. So Oasis to make it through the entire world tour that they have announced. Yep. Now, another one. This is a very vague one as well, but Gojira are going to crush it this year, and I think we're going to see a live album being released by the band's camp all the way in December. So I'm going to be very intrigued by this one. Of course, Gojira had a massive year last year, just launching themselves into the world of music, if you will, with their live performance, of course, at the French Olympics, and they did so well with that. Of course, it made my list for, the number one song of 2024, and deservedly so. They are an awesome band. But I think that we're really only seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Gojira, because, while overnight they earned like 4 million fans because of that performance, I think we're going to see the pressure to not only see an album, which I don't know if the band will release an album this year, but I think that at least from the record label say, hey, capitalise, release a live album. I think we're going to see that at least. So Gojira are going to crush it this year. Live album, I reckon, is going to be coming out. As for new albums, I'm going to say AC/DC will release a new album. And I will also back this one up by saying also Guns N' Roses will release their overdue record sometime this year. So those are two massive calls, but I'm going to make it another big call by saying both AC/DC and, of course, Guns N' Roses will tour North America together again. So that is a huge call, and I'm just eager to see what happens there, to see if I'm right or wrong in these regards. Certainly should be interesting. But we're going to cap off the end of this episode by saying we're going to mention the bands. I think that we're going to see one band reform. And it's going to be an interesting one because I'm going to call it out as Jane's Addiction. They will reform, and this time they will replace Dave Navarro with Josh Klinghoffer, who performed duties back in, I think it was 2022, when Dave was suffering from his illness with COVID. And eventually, I think, obviously, given the fight that they had, you're not going to see Perry leave the band. However, Dave has a history of leaving the band, has done so numerous times. Of course, he even joined Red Hot Chili Peppers. So it's very, I guess, if it were to happen, and Josh, of course, joins the band as a replacement for Dave, it's going to be an interesting roundabout 4 degrees or 3 degrees of separation. So that should be very interesting to see if that happens. Maybe Jane's Addiction fans, if you're out there and you're listening to this part of the episode, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are if they were to reform as such. Did you want to see them reform, or do you want to just leave them done and dusted and just be fond of the memories that you have? Anyway, actually, I want to back that one up and say, would you want to see an album performed by Josh as the in the guitar duties? Because they seem to be released. They don't release many albums, at the end of the day as well. So anyway, that's another one. Comment below, of course, in the section below. But on top of this, I want to hear your predictions for 2025. Make them either interesting, funny, or whatever. And as always, have a great day, and hopefully we revisit this at the end of the year. Take it easy. Stay spicy out there. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.